If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, well, no surprise, but boy, the news is coming out soon. Puck News is reporting that Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is not expected to seek re-election in 2028. To me, that's pretty obvious, given the verbal mudslinging at him right now after everything that's happening, not just from Republicans, but much more so from his own party. You can see a lot of the progressives within the Democratic Party are going crazy against Chuck Schumer, blaming him for either causing the shutdown or caving on the shutdown in their mind. Either way, it looks like Chuck Schumer's days are numbered. He tried to play it safe with Mamdani. Remember, he didn't endorse him, but then there was all this pressure. How come you didn't endorse him? I would understand why you wouldn't endorse him. The guy, in my mind, is anti-Semitic, has so many issues with the NYPD and so many other things. But then he came under also fire within his own party. And it looks like maybe AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, maybe is indeed planning to run for Senate in that seat. I think she has much bigger ambitions than just being a former bartender and a member of Congress. So let's see where that goes. What's your reaction, guys, that already there are reports tonight that Democratic Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York is not expected to seek re-election in 2028. Just one report out there, but no surprise. And I think there will be many more also saying the same thing in the coming days. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, here is Congressman Mike Levin, and listen to what he has to say because he's not too happy with Chuck Schumer.
You put out a post saying that Schumer's not the leader the Senate needs right now for Democrats. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, it's pretty simple. Either he wouldn't or couldn't keep the Senate Democrats together. I'm really proud to be a member of the House Democratic Caucus, where Leader Jeffries and Catherine Clark and Pete Aguilar have kept us all together for weeks and weeks, despite really difficult circumstances. I think Leader Jeffries has done a tremendous job keeping us all united.
But not Chuck Schumer in his mind. Many people are saying this is the end of Chuck Schumer. I want to play also, here's cut number 12, because this is AOC, and she didn't dance around it like Mike Levin. Listen to how AOC said it on cut number 12.
What is so important for folks to understand is that this problem is bigger than one person, and it actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. You had 8 Senate Democrats who coordinated their own votes on this, as well as you have 2 retiring members. Many of them are also up in several cycles from now, with the hope that people are going to forget this moment. And I think what's important is that we understand that this is not just a leader is a reflection of the party. And Senate Democrats have selected their leadership to represent them. And so the question needs to be bigger than just one person. We have several Senate primaries this cycle. I know I'm being asked about New York. That is years from now. I have to remind my own constituents because they think that this election is this year. We actually do have Senate elections this year, and my hope is that people across this country actually participate in their primary elections in selecting their leadership. Thank you.
That's a nice way to say, I'm being asked by a lot of people to run. Maybe I will run against Chuck Schumer or fill the void if indeed he just accidentally gets kind of pushed out or blatantly gets pushed out, I think, in this particular case. What do you think? I think AOC, I'll tell you right now, she feels emboldened. You've got Mamdani. There are other sort of mini Mamdanis. There's a Seattle one who was just elected. Boy, oh boy, if you thought it was bad just on the East Coast, nope. Look at Seattle. There is a mayor there, her mayor-elect Katie Wilson, and she just came out and said that she wants government-run grocery stores, just like Zohran Mamdani, and she also doesn't want the private ones to close. So not only does she want to have control over ones and turn them into government runs, which have never really worked anywhere, hasn't worked in Cuba or Venezuela or anywhere like that, or anywhere in America. The one in Kansas City has been a disaster, that experiment. But now she's also saying the private ones can't close. So not only do they want to push their socialist policies on those of us who don't want to have anything to do with it, anybody who's a good business owner and says, no, I want to keep my business running, too bad. Is that what's in store also for New York? And then you've got Mamdani, of course, tonight. Boy, oh boy, this guy really has a set of cojones. Let's just put it that way. It's incredible because he's been out there blasting Mayor Eric Adams. And Mayor Eric Adams has been doing a number of things. He's heading to Israel, by the way. Bravo to him. Because, of course, New York and Israel have very close relationships. And he's been a big supporter of the Jewish population, unlike Mayor Mamdani, if you look at his comments. So he's probably not too happy. He was asked, do you think that Mayor Eric Adams is trolling you, by going all the way over to Israel when it's probably clearly the last place you'd ever go? And he's like, no, he can kind of do what he wants. Well, then now he's not happy that Mayor Eric Adams is designating an area as sort of a permanent park, because he can still do whatever he wants. Remember, he's still the mayor of New York. Mr. Mamdani, you're not the mayor yet. You're not the mayor until January 1st. And let's pray that that's a long ways away. Let's pray a lot of good things happen in the meantime. And Eric Adams has beefed up the NYPD. He's trying to beef up the numbers to sort of be the block, if you will, to Zohran Mamdani, who has indicated in his little word salad that he's planning to do cuts or at least trim departments, however you want to phrase it, in his little fancy verbiage behind his little smile. And he's also designating this area. He said, no, we're not going to make it affordable housing. We're going to make it a public park. You wouldn't think it's a big deal, but Zohran Mamdani doesn't like it. Zohran Mamdani has now come out and said that Eric Adams has a legacy of dysfunction. I can't believe this guy. This guy is 34 years old, Zohran Mamdani, and he's like a little snotty-nosed kid. Remember when he won the mayorship, he came out and he said, President Trump, turn the volume up. If you want to, you got to hear me. I know you're tuning in like the whole world is tuning in to him. Turn the volume up. That arrogance that night. And then now he's like, Mayor Eric Adams, he needs to respect that I'm coming in on January 1st. And he is leaving a legacy of dysfunction. What? Because he's trying to do the right thing, or he's trying to do decisions that he wants to do that maybe aren't in sync with some of your wacky policies? I'm not saying affordable housing's that, but a lot of the other things that Zohran Mamdani has talked about clearly are wacky in my mind. And also, now there are discussions that the Mamdani team has on the books a meeting scheduled with Jessica Tish. She is the NYPD commissioner. And she, by all accounts, I think has done a great job. She's well respected. She came up through the ranks. She's done a good job, I think, with the police department. And when he was saying what the criteria was for a new NYPD commissioner, who would ever want to be an NYPD commissioner under this guy, who clearly does not like the NYPD based on his past statements? I mean, and even the current ones have not been really glowing by any means. So she was, essentially, there have been a lot of questions because he's essentially said that he wants to keep her on. She's the current one, and it's done a good job. And when he said during the debate, like what he thought the criterias were for a new NYPD commissioner, who would he want? He brought her name up. And the first thing he said was not to keep the community safe. He said she did a good job disciplining cops. Because remember, it came in when there were some problems with the police department during Mayor Eric Adams' term. There were a number of different issues that were going on there. But the first thing when I think of a good police commissioner is not disciplining cops. My first thought is, can they keep the community safe? Can they keep all of us safe? But not Mayor-elect Mamdani. His view is that she did a good job taking care of any dirty cops or any questionable cops. So that's his criteria. First of all, she leaves, I think, a great legacy behind, but that's not the legacy I think of. She did a good job in that department, but her real success was bringing down some of the crime numbers, working really well with the mayor. She comes from a good family. She doesn't necessarily need the money. So my question to you guys tonight is, should she stay on? Or does she give Mamdani cover? When you have somebody credible and great like that and they decide to stay on, first of all, they're going to hit loggerheads because their views of policing are so far apart, so completely disparate. And if somebody said to me, hey, would you want to be Mayor Mamdani's NYPD commissioner? I'd say, no way. Is that a joke? I'd ask them, what police commissioner? He doesn't need a police commissioner because he doesn't want police. I mean, doesn't she, by joining him, if she were to, because we haven't heard from her yet, and apparently they haven't had this meeting of the minds yet, but does she kind of give him a rubber stamp of approval that he does not deserve when it comes to police? Or is it good to have somebody who cares about the city and policing who can maybe keep an eye on the guy? 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. When here is a little bit of Congressman Mike Lawler talking about what a mess New York City's in with this new mayor-elect.
Zohran Mamdani will be the downfall of New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, a complete disaster. There's no question we have feckless, incompetent leadership, part of the reason you moved to Florida. But we need to turn it around next year. Elise Stefanik is running for governor, and ultimately we're going to give New Yorkers a choice.
Yeah, because we need also a backstop, by the way, too. And here is Ina Vernikov. She is a city council member, and listen to what she says of the importance of having somebody who can keep this guy who clearly is signaling he's going to go full throttle with his, Kami Mamdani policies.
Here's what I could tell you. I can tell you that Elise Stefanik, when she becomes our new governor, is definitely going to be the checks against Mamdani. And we're very excited. We're going to do everything we can to elect her. She's doing very well in the polls already, so early on. Kathy Hochul's totally down in the polls. A Democrat like Kathy Hochul should be way up in the polls at this minute, but she's not because she's been the worst and weakest governor in this country. And we're going to elect Elise Stefanik. Is going to be great, and she's going to be that balance, that voice. She's going to stand up to Mamdani like nobody else can. So we're very excited.
And Ina Vernikov, we also talked with her on Cats and Cosby. And boy, oh boy, she also dropped a bombshell. She is planning on inviting Benjamin Netanyahu to come in January. Would he be coming during maybe the inauguration of Zohran Mamdani? That would be one for the record books. You know how like during a number of these debates and different things we saw, like Donald Trump, remember when he was debating Hillary Clinton, he invited a lot of these women that had the accusations against, Bill Clinton. He invited them as guests, and they sat pretty visibly in the audience there in the debate. Sometimes people do that. They put somebody who, makes that person feel uncomfortable or whatever it is, or just reminds the audience of a certain thing. So in this case, can you imagine Ina Vernikov, again, New York City councilwoman, say she gets invited, and of course she is. She gets to go to the inauguration, and she brings as her guest Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. That would be awesome because, of course, Zohran Mamdani's already said that he would have him arrested if he came to New York. So we talked with Ina Vernikov about that, and we said, you bring up the point you want to bring him in January. Are you talking about for the inauguration on January 1st of Zohran Mamdani? I would love to. I would have popcorn and I'd open up a lemonade stand just for viewing that one. Listen to this.
Well, I don't kiss and tell, but I could tell you for sure that.
Write that down.
Wait. You don't kiss and tell.
Let me write that down.
We're writing that down. Go ahead.
I can tell you for sure that in the very near future, we will see Bibi in New York City.
Wow. So what do you think that means? Do you think she's going to have him seated there front row or on the stage? Because he's a dignitary. He's a world leader. He should be there on the stage. Can you imagine? And then when it comes time for Zohran Mamdani to put his hand probably on the Quran versus the Bible, he just kind of sits there. That would be an interesting moment. And what, is he going to try to arrest him at his inauguration? Give me a break. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And we'll take your calls when we come back here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
I turned off news altogether.
I hate to say it, but I don't trust much of anything.
It's the rage bait.
It feels like it's trying to divide people.
If we got clear facts, maybe we can calm down a little.
NBC News brings you clear reporting. Let's meet at the facts. Let's move forward from there. NBC News, reporting for America.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, Alabama's looking pretty good. Sweet home Alabama, because New York City is a mess. And Zohran Mamdani sounds like all of those crazy plans that people are like, no, does he really mean it? He really means it. Let's go to Joel in Central Florida. Go ahead, Joel. Your thoughts tonight.
Good morning, Rita. Good evening, Rita. Just to answer your question to begin with, when you're talking about Commissioner Tish being able to rein in Mr. Mamdani, I can't see that ever happening. I think it would be to her detriment to stay with this administration. She could do so much better. Just thinking of this Mamdani as just being a spoiled, rich brat, basically, as is AOC. Most of these, they come from privilege. They come from the fact that they got what they wanted as children, and that's just it. And my question to you is, do you see AOC having any direct presidential aspirations?
By the way, I can answer that very quickly. Yes, yes, and yes. And I think she'll try to say, oh, I got wooed into it by Bernie.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm not an actor, just a guy living with prostate cancer. My wife and I face each day head on. We asked my doctor about Xtandi enzalutamide.
Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache.
Visit Xtandi.com to watch my story.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Phoenix, Arizona, where a dramatic rescue by police of a woman who fell into a very steep canal was captured all on camera. The woman claimed that she was sitting near the edge of the canal when she just suddenly fell in. Now, police say despite falling into the water, this is incredible, the woman's phone was still able to call 911. Now, as soon as the officers arrived on the scene and located her, they used a retractable ladder to try to aid her efforts. You could hear officers saying, keep climbing, we're going to get you out. The woman can then be heard saying very emotionally, please, don't let me go. And they did not. The responders were able to pull her out and said that this is also rare because often scenarios like this do not end so well. They cautioned everybody that these canals, by the way, are very dangerous because they have steep concrete walls that make them very difficult to escape and also deceptive currents running underneath. So they caution anybody for going into the water, especially if they're trying to take a swim or do something else, who knows what. But stay away. But thank goodness in this case, it had a very happy ending. Well, we're talking about Zohran Mamdani and also Tish. We're talking about Jessica Tish. She is indeed the NYPD Commissioner, very highly regarded, comes from a highly regarded family, the Tish family, and has done a great job as the NYPD Commissioner. Very well liked, very well respected. And Zohran Mamdani has said he would like to keep her. It doesn't mean she has to stay. So do you think she should say, forget it, I'm not going to stay, because maybe her staying sort of gives it a rubber stamp? I have mixed feelings on it, you guys. I mean, part of me says it'd be good to have somebody qualified who's keeping an eye on that guy versus some rabid radical. But then on the other hand, you also don't want to give this guy a stamp of approval. Let's go to Norm on line 5. Norm, what do you think tonight?
Rita, I too am conflicted. I mean, part of me says, oh, to hell with it. Let New York burn. But I live here. You know, I mean, part of it says, oh, you know, we're going to go through hell to get to heaven. So let it all happen. Let Antifa be our police force. Let it all go to hell. And that's what I. But then I say, well, I'm also a homeowner here. I own a house, and you know, I do care about property value, and I don't want to get killed going on the subway. So, you know, basically, these are the two issues.
So where do you fall at the end?
I would think Jessica Tish would be a fool to stay there.
That's what I'm wondering.
You know, I think that she would. I think I think that he's going to abuse her. He's going to try to make her do stuff which is not going to be good for the police and not good for the city.
So if hang on, Norm. Norm, hold on. If you were her, you would not stay. Is that? By the way, for me, if I were her, I would not stay just because I wouldn't want to see this guy every day.
Yeah, if I was Jessica Tish, I would not stay. Also, she is the daughter of Jonathan Tish, the owner of the New York Giants. I would definitely, the kinds of money in her background, I'd be like, well, what the hell do I need this for? There are greener pastures out there for Jessica Tish.
Yeah, she does. Exactly. She doesn't need the money. And also, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard reports that maybe she's considered at some point, maybe running for mayor or running some other position or who knows what, maybe not even in politics, but just in some sort of bigger capacity, because she is great and well respected. So almost for that reason, would you ever want to be associated with the Mamdani administration if you had higher aspirations for something else? Like, to me, that would give a lot of people a question mark. Like, why did you stay? Especially because he's come out and he's been so viscerally anti-police. I mean, as we know, Norm, I mean, my goodness, there's no gray with this guy, I don't think. I mean, the only thing that's gray is his little word salads. But if you listen to the content of what he says, it's downright dangerous, And in fact, I want to play, this is cut 22. And I want to get your reaction to this, Norm, because this is his NYPD, boot on the neckline. That's just so repulsive. And he brings in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. Listen to this.
I think in the first question, there is this setting up of a context where this idea of hyper-local and international. And I think that for anyone to care about these issues, we have to make them hyperlocal. We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF. Right? We have to make, not specifically that example all the time, but just to say that for working class people who have very little time, who have so many stresses, who are under so many pressures, there isn't that much time for symbolism. We have to make it materially connected to their life. And I think that what opportunity we have is that we are in a country where those connections abound, especially in New York City. You have so many opportunities to make clear the ways in which that struggle over there is tied to capital's interest over here.
And Norm and everybody else, let's not to be outdone. Let's not forget, he doesn't want to keep the bad guys behind bars. He thinks we should just open up all the jails because jails, he believes, are a social experiment and don't really solve the problem. I guess having people who've committed heinous crimes just kind of roam freely, that's his idea of civil society. Let's not forget this one.
The jail population of Rikers has increased since Eric Adams has come into office by more than 1,000 additional incarcerated New Yorkers. And what is quite staggering to me is that we know that we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. I mean, Vital City had an article about a number of different proposals that could reduce it to 3,700. And some of this also just has to look at the average stay on Rikers in the 90s was 50 days. Now it's more than 100. There are more than 1,500 people on Rikers who have been held there for more than a year. So I do think many of the reforms that have to be made are also reforms around the court system and ensuring that people are actually having speedy
trials. Let's not keep them in. Let's open up. He has other places where he's talked about defund and end carceration. So, I mean, this is crazy stuff, Norm. So if you're the police commissioner or somebody who cares about law and order, and not only is he saying, well, maybe we shouldn't be locking these people up, and then he's going to say, oh, those protests out there, like roaming through Macy's and breaking things and stealing things, that's First Amendment. I mean, do you want to get to the position where it's like, I just couldn't take it anymore? I mean, it's pretty obvious that they are diametrically opposed. And I think it hurts Jessica Tish if she stays. I'd like to find someone who's a law and order person, but I think she's better than that. Your thoughts, Norm?
My thoughts are, I mean, by linking NYPD up with the IDF, this is classic anti-Semitic crap. This is classic anti-Semitic, just simply wrong. It's delusional propaganda.
But the problem is he believes it. You know, he didn't say this when he was 12. He said it in 2023, Norm. Norm, he said it just 2 years ago. That's the thing.
No, he's basically a spoiled kid who grew up with a globalist father in a mansion. You know, I mean. By
the way, I wish I could say that.
To become
Norm,
a citizen 7 damn years ago.
Norm,
I mean,
you are being way too kind. You're calling him a globalist. I'm calling him an anti-Semite. You know, I mean, to me, there's a difference between a globalist and an anti-Semite. There are people who maybe have a globalist perspective, but they don't necessarily have fathers who try to say why we should understand suicide bombers, and they don't hang out with people who say that America deserved 9/11. Like, to me, he's a destructionist. How about that? That's better than a globalist to describe him.
I'll include that, and he will screw this city up. I mean, he has all intentions on screwing this city up. He will, and we will go through at least 4 years of hell, and hopefully, unless Stefanik removes him, and that's it. This is unless we have a reprieve from the governor, unless the New York State citizens have a reprieve, like somebody on death row. We have a reprieve. But he will ruin this city. He has every intention of. And all those kids that voted him in, all those kids in Williamsburg, those keffiyeh-wearing kids from Idaho or wherever they come from who come here because New York is so exciting, it will be a little bit too exciting. And they'll go back to Idaho. And that's it. And Norm will be here.
Oh, God. And Norm, I do agree with you. He will screw up this city. The question is, how bad? And is it, irreparable? That's what I'm concerned. Like, sometimes it's really hard to turn it back. And once you've sort of let those people out to do certain things, and, like the protests, I worry so much about the protests. I worry that he's going to say stand down. He's already said that, that he believes it's First Amendment. He's going to get rid of the strategic response group that responds to those protests. So when you put all those things together, Norm, it's like, how could anybody want to be the NYPD commissioner under this guy? I mean, the more I think about it, the more I say, Jessica Tish, keep your self-respect and say no. Absolutely. Don't give this guy any stamp of credibility, because he's using her for his own credibility. He used her during the debates to say, I'm looking at keeping Jessica Tish. So people would say, oh, well, maybe he is a law and order guy after all. I don't think we should all be that fooled. Norm, thank you. Great conversation, my friend. Let's go to Matt in the Bronx. Go, Matt, on line 1, my friend. How are you, Matt?
Doing pretty well, but I really want to comment. This might sound controversial, but ironically enough, Zohran Mamdani is being attacked in some quarters. You've done it yourself as an anti-Semite, but it's ironic that Zohran Mamdani and people of his background, immigrant background, were really facilitated into the country by Jewish lobbying pressure on the Johnson administration back in the 1960s. Because, and to this day, major Jewish organizations are still on the left politically speaking. They still advocate for open borders immigration, and it's coming back to bite them in the ass in the form of people like Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani cares nothing about Israel. He cares nothing about the Jewish people, and he might very well have a deep, lingering hatred of them.
By the way, Matt, I agree with you that it is stunning. And I believe in Zohran Mamdani's case, he got 30% of the vote. I mean, of the Jewish vote. To me, that's shocking. And I don't think anybody who cares about preservation of Israel should be voting for this guy. And I mean, he is totally telegraphing his views. One of those comments would be enough for me to say, if I care about Israel, and I do, don't vote for this guy. I mean, it should have been automatic. He should have been disqualified from running with his views were so, to me, repulsive on so many different terms. But you're right. There is this history. And, it's interesting. I've asked, I'm not Jewish, Matt, but I've asked, people who are Jewish, hey, why have you thought about supporting this guy or this person on the Democratic side, especially the case of Zohran Mamdani? A lot of times they have voted Democratic. So there's a history there, like you said. And also, in their minds, too, a lot of them thought, oh, well, no, he doesn't really mean this. Look, you see at a lot of these protests, too. You see sometimes, a small percentage, it's not a big one, but a small percentage of Jews at some of those protests on college campuses. It's a very liberal society in terms of liberal and democratic society, many different opinions in Israel. And I think obviously it's a much smaller percentage than those who are against Zohran Mamdani. But I agree, there shouldn't have been any of them voting for Zohran Mamdani. So, but let me ask you, Matt, though, getting back to, did you hear what Ina Vernikov said? She said that she wants to invite Netanyahu here for Mamdani's, she kind of hinted it would be sometime in early January, and it might be for the inauguration. She wouldn't confirm or deny that, but that would be brilliant. What do you think of that move?
Well, I think it will be a good thing insofar as that, basically, ironically enough, again, Netanyahu would probably endorse Zohran Mamdani as a New York City mayor. Why? Because, again, the Jewish lobby in this country sees multiracialism, multiculturalism, diversity, quote unquote.
Matt, he would never endorse. Matt, you've got to be kidding me. A very conservative, staunch conservative, Benjamin Netanyahu, who has been one of the most stalwart, I think, protectors of Israel ever. There's been a lot of great Israeli leaders who have done so, but he's done a lot of work protecting his country. Ultra conservative. You are not going to tell me that you think in any shape or form he'd ever endorse Mamdani. There are others that are Jewish that are ultra liberal, but that's like saying Donald Trump would endorse Mamdani. You got to be kidding me.
And the reason why I say that is because in the United States, the Jewish lobby, they are all for open borders immigration, but in Israel, they're having no part of it. They want open borders immigration in the United States, in Europe, Australia, Canada, because they see that as a protective barrier against quote-unquote anti-Semitism. Obviously, the rise of Zohran Mamdani proves that theory to be wrong.
Right, but still, Matt, you're getting into the whole historical diatribe. But what I will tell you is that you got to admit, there's no way Netanyahu would ever endorse a Mamdani. By the way, I'll give you another zinger tonight. AOC said, she used to sort of support Trump, and that a lot of these Trump supporters now are turning to her. Do you believe that? That's also hogwash. That's like, you got to be stupid 101. I'm not saying you. I'm saying anybody's got to be stupid 101 to think that like a Trump supporter is now suddenly fawning all over AOC. That's like saying Netanyahu is going to like Mamdani. That's obviously blank blank.
With AOC, I gotta say, if AOC succeeds Chuck Schumer after he's driven out for losing the battle over the shutdown, if AOC succeeds Chuck Schumer as becoming majority leader in the Senate, minority leader in the Senate, that'll be like Caligula making his horse a Senate in the old Roman Empire. I think that, it'll be just as effective.
That's a very good analogy. Matt, you made me laugh. That's a good one. Everybody, we're going to continue your calls after the break. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tish has talked about how bail reform has made it difficult for officers, the importance of being able to have discovery, the discovery law. So there's a lot of issues going on here. And she has been a big stalwart supporter of the NYPD. Do you think she'd last a minute with Zohran Mamdani? He wants to keep her. I say she says, no. Don't try to get some credibility by using me. And this guy's going to be a disaster. If she really sticks to her gun, she'll get along with him for about 5 minutes. After he starts talking, after he finishes his little smile and then gets to the heart of the matter, it'll be like, yeah, I really do want to defund the police. Yeah. I really do want to open up all the jail cells. Yeah. I do want to really send a social worker. Anybody with a law and order compass is going to go no, and no. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Father Joseph in Pearl River. Go ahead.
Hi, Rita. Long time no talk. How are you doing?
Good. Doing great. It's great to hear from you again, Father Joseph. I love that. I hope you're doing okay. And I hope you are praying for New York City. We need your blessings.
I'm praying hard. Rita, I got to say, I agree with you 100%. You're absolutely right. Ms. Tish should have nothing to do with Mamdani, Dami. She should not give him an ounce of credibility. He'll end up firing her anyways. So, she would do better just to say bye-bye.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I think too, Father. I think, first of all, like you just said, he will end up saying too bad. And also, if you look at this guy's attitude, he is just so brazen. I mean, when he won, his victory speech was full of sort of very nasty, very sort of, very like just divisive language. I mean, he was like, President Trump, I know you're listening. Turn the volume up. We're going to go after you. I thought, what a weird victory speech. And then tonight now he's going after Mayor Eric Adams, saying he's not doing enough to help him to come in. Meanwhile, Mayor Eric Adams is trying to do things to protect the city. He's still the mayor. This guy really is brazen.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.